Okay, we are filming this video in my car, or technically in Jesse's car this morning. Super original. I have played with where to put my little suction cup tripod thing on the windshield for the past 15 minutes. I tried to put it over here to get the most light. I tried to put it in the center, and this seems to be the best spot for it, and I kind of like it because look who it is. The girly Goos. Fern and Ivy. I'm filming this video completely unscripted. I did bring my laptop into the car because I thought that I would take the time to write some notes and just get some points out that I wanted to share in this video, because I didn't end up doing that though. I turned on my camera and here we are. I don't quite have a structure or a flow for what I want to say today, and that might make it so that it seems like I may be rambling a little bit, but all I know is that I felt like I needed to get in front of my camera to talk, and there are just a jumble of things in my head that I was wondering might feel good to express verbally in front of the camera, to just sort of get out. So this might seem all over the place. There's literally no particular rhyme or reason for this video. I just wanted to give a little bit of an update for where I'm at, some of the things I've been thinking about, some of the things I've been struggling with, some of my thoughts for the future, where I'm at with Grumble Farm as a brand, where I'm at with social media and all of these different platforms. I am in a position these days where I'm starting to feel incredibly confused about who I'm talking to, and I think the reason for that is because from my end, on the other side of the camera or the screen, when I'm filming things and when I'm speaking and talking and explaining or describing something or telling a story, to me, psychologically, I believe the people that are listening or reading or whatever, watching whatever, are following along with everything that I'm sharing everywhere. Other than these videos that I share on YouTube, whatever video it is, if it's a vlog, if it's a sit down video or whatever, sometimes I'm actually writing something instead. So I'll either write something and send it off as an email newsletter to my email list. I have about 1,500 people on my email list from over the past 5 years. So sometimes I'll send out an email. I use Flowdesk to do that. So that's an email marketing service provider. Sometimes I'll write a blog on Grumble Farm's website, and then I'll include a link to that blog in the newsletter that I send out. Sometimes I'll end up expressing something or sharing something on my Instagram stories. Sometimes, very rarely, I'll make the effort to make an actual post about it in my feed. And then recently I've been diving back into Substack, and I'll try to remember to talk about that in a little bit. But basically what I'm trying to say is that the bits and pieces of, I guess, my story or what I'm trying to share are spread across, they're kind of broken up and spread across different places. And when I'm talking or sharing something on a particular platform, I'm always assuming that that person is, who's looking at it, is up to date on oh, they watched the last vlog, so I can talk about that or reference that or pick up where that left off or whatever. And it's just, for a long time, this isn't just a recent thing, it's felt extremely fragmented, and it's my own sort of fault, it's my own doing, but it frustrates me so much because for some reason it's so hard for me to understand why people aren't getting the full story. And it's also really frustrating for me because I'm constantly hearing from people well, I don't watch YouTube, or I had one person tell me I don't do Patreon, and I was like, what do you mean you don't do Patreon? It's literally just a way to support people that you like. I had this one guy on Instagram tell me, I can't join your Patreon because I don't have the time to read your posts. And I was like, okay, that's not really the point of it. But I constantly, from various platforms, I got email newsletter replies, I get DMs from people all the time when I share stuff to my stories, or comments on the feed when I do post there. It's this constant reminder that people don't have time, or they didn't see that because they did. It's always I don't have time. I don't have time to do this. I don't have time to do that. I have several times heard people say I don't have the attention span, which just pisses me off so much. I understand that Instagram people consume primarily on Instagram, YouTube people consume primarily on YouTube, readers primarily consume on platforms that allow them to read. So that's, newsletters or blogs or on Substack. So each medium kind of has its own audience, and I've sort of been dabbling a little bit in all of them, but it has been just everything I've been sharing about my life has just been spread across those platforms. So I know that was a really long explanation, but I'm filming a video for Grumble Farm's YouTube channel specifically this morning. And when I think about that, I think about like, okay, there's this core group of people that's gonna click this video and are gonna listen to it. And possibly the last time they heard from me was the last vlog that I posted a week ago. And that was when I was going through all of the laundry shenanigans, and I made those 2 vlogs about doing laundry. And like, maybe you did see those and maybe you didn't. Like, if you're listening to me talking, like maybe you did watch those, maybe you didn't. I'm assuming you did though. So that's sort of like where it's a little bit tricky for me. And that also means that when I get in front of the camera and I'm like, okay, I'm in YouTube brain, I'm making a video for YouTube specifically, I'm talking to the people that will possibly be clicking on this video and watching it, I get confused. Like, I sort of like short circuit thinking about striking that balance between talking to people that potentially might be new to the channel, like, and that means that maybe I popped up on their recommended and they like were intrigued by the thumbnail or the title, they clicked on it and they're listening to me talk and they're just discovering my videos, my vlogs, my channel. Grumble Farm is a brand, like they're just seeing it for the first time. And then the people that have been following along with my story and like my content or my videos on YouTube or across the internet for years and years and years and years and years. Like, there are some people here that have been following since like 10 years ago. So it's this crazy psychological mindfuck of thinking that I need to be inclusive and like approachable and interesting and clear to people that aren't already familiar with my story, but also just wanting to carry on with the fucking story and wanting it to be like known from beginning to end. That's the other thing, is I'll get people saying, it's time to share your story. You need to share your story. And to me, it's so confusing because I feel like from the eye of the storm, like from the eye of the middle of this, trying to like share this story. I know I use air quotes a lot, but like, it's just what it is. It's a habit. It feels like I'm repeating myself over and over and over and over and over again, and that I'm being so annoying by repeating the same thing over and over and over and over and over again. And it is exhausting because it feels like no matter how much I repeat myself, like, people either aren't seeing the content. I hate that word content, by the way. I'm like so friggin' over that word. They're not seeing the videos and the writing and the stories that I'm putting out, or they're just seeing bits and bits and pieces of it, parts of it. That make them very confused. So I don't know what the point of sharing this is. I just feel very fragmented at the moment. And I feel like this story that I have inside of me, I've shared, I feel like I've shared all of it almost in various places on the internet. And I'm struggling with how to bring them in and share them in one place that people can watch or read or listen to or whatever. And I have some thoughts and ideas about that, but that's sort of where I'm at now with my confusion about like what to talk about or what to share, because I'm like, what do people know? What don't they know? How do I talk to them? Are they new? Have they been following forever? Do they have the backstory? Like, I have no idea. And to be perfectly honest, here on YouTube, I am completely and totally over and sick of the idea of trying to package and present myself in a way that grabs people's attention, that proves my worth and my value to be listened to and followed along with. I am like sick and tired of trying to compromise like just like all of it, like compromise the way that I feel comfortable speaking and talking to try and get exposure and reach and like literally win people's attention and convince them to watch my videos. This is one of the reasons why I left, there's my air quotes again, Instagram in the first place a while ago. You know, I've been back and forth with Instagram since. I rerouted my focus from creating content. God damn it. I can't stop doing this. I'm just like sick of everything. So every single like term or word that I'm bringing up, I'm always like, I'm going to make an effort not to do that throughout the rest of this video. But I diverted my effort and my energy and my attention from sharing on Instagram to creating videos, filming and editing and uploading videos for the YouTube platform a while ago, probably like a year ago. And I thought YouTube was so much different because it didn't have the restrictions in place for me to sit down in front of my camera and talk. Like, I could sit down and talk for an hour if I wanted to, and like I would still be able to fit that into a video that could be uploaded to YouTube. So it felt like freedom. Like, it felt like I didn't have to cram my writing into 2,200 character limit caption boxes. I didn't have to cram what I was trying to say into 60-second like Instagram stories that would disappear after 24 hours. And then at the time, I think reels were only 30 seconds, and they were 60 seconds, and then they were a minute and a half, and then now they're 3 minutes or something like that. I always felt forever, like since the beginning, I've always felt censored and just like really squished into this like little box, like the confines of like of Instagram and of short form content platforms. It always felt like I had to package everything up really neatly to fit into this little box. So when I started getting more comfortable speaking in front of the camera and making videos for YouTube, it felt like freedom. Like it felt like I could finally express myself. But over time, just based on like the feedback or the results, I guess, from the videos I was sharing, and also just kind of like falling down, or like, I guess, doom scrolling in a way, following along with like YouTube gurus and content creator like coach people, coming across content like that's telling me how to do things and how to follow the rules and how to succeed and how to like, you know, win and like reach your goals on YouTube. It's always still the same kind of thing. It's about hooks and retention rates and, you know, winning people's attention and not rambling on too much. But so I'm always trying to be interesting. I'm always trying to be animated. I'm always trying to be funny. I'm always trying to like do things that are like worthy of people's attention, because the creator economy is so oversaturated with people creating content right now, and they're going to extreme lengths to grab and keep people's attention. And it's honestly like an assault on my own attention span. Like I can't stand the stuff that I see popping up on Instagram and TikTok or like whatever, YouTube, that is designed to grab my attention against like everybody else's stuff. And so anyway, all of the effort that I was putting into my YouTube vlogs or the videos that I was sharing on YouTube, and I was, you know, trying to keep in mind all of these like tactics, these like attention grabbing tactics, and, you know, getting to the point and not rambling and just like not allowing myself to like talk and work through my thoughts organically, and doing scripts and like trying to figure out how to get other people's approval, you know, that I was worthy of listening to, or that I was worthy of taking the time to pay attention. My whole like YouTube, I guess, dream or like journey last year flopped in a way. It didn't flop in the sense that I feel like I deepened my connections and my online relationships with a small group of people who really did enjoy the work that I was putting out and the stories that I was telling and all of the adventures that we went on, road tripping with Fern and Ivy to all of the different farms and coming back to the little shack and crossing the ferry, and just like all of these adventures that we went on, all of the stories I was sharing. You know, there were a couple of times that I worked through my grief with Jonas when I was out there on the road and visiting our dog park or cooking in the kitchen or like whatever. So it's not like it was a total waste. There were people that were watching them and engaging and commenting and stuff like that. And that's all great. Like it was fun. But in terms of like YouTube actually being something that, oh, I don't know, makes me money, like generates revenue or causes Grumble Farm to grow, like actually results in like organic reach and growth and exposure and like growth and people discovering me and my story and Grumble Farm as a brand and whatever. None of that happened. Like none of it happened. I didn't have a single video go viral. That's not entirely true. I had like one video go like mini viral. I think it has 5,000 views, which is the most views that I've ever gotten on YouTube. I was sitting on the deck here at the shack talking about the Canada Postal Union workers strike, and the only reason that reached that many, here we go again, that many people was because it was a highly relevant topic in the news at the time. And so I think the keywords and like just the title and the topic was pushed out a little bit by YouTube. But obviously, I'm not a cultural commentator, like I wasn't, or political commentator by any means. And so like that didn't really have anything to do with like my stuff that I'm trying to share on here. So even the small like little blip of growth that I got from that video wasn't really relevant. And yeah, I feel like I'm so tired of trying so hard to do it right in a way that results in growth. And I haven't seen it yet, and I don't think I want to continue trying or going in that direction with the intention of like growing. I think I'm done with that. I think I'm at peace with just creating for a small audience of people that is listening and is interested. And I don't think I want to go out of my way to put so much effort into videos that I'm hoping will blow up or go viral or result in like a ton of people realizing like, oh, the Grumble farm, like who is this person? This is such an interesting story. Why did I never hear or see of them before? And I'm constantly getting stuck in comparison traps of other people and their similar content, similar stories, whether it's like, you know, farms or people's journeys or like the stories that they're sharing and stuff like that. And they have millions and millions and millions of followers. And I'm like, why not me? Like, why not me? And I'm so tired of just feeling lesser than or not worthy of that like level of success. And I'm also trying to redefine my idea of what success means. And maybe that doesn't actually necessarily ever mean having a ton of subscribers. 10,000 subs on YouTube, 100,000 subs on YouTube, whatever. There's always like the drive for money. Like, of course I want to make money. I think money is wonderful. Money is an incredibly positive energy in my opinion. I don't have a whole ton of it and I wish I did, but I wish for it in a very positive way. And I strive for it in a very positive way. So of course, like I wish that my videos were getting views so that I could actually make money. But in order to make ad revenue off of YouTube, you need to have a lot of people watching your videos, or you need to be supplementing it with like affiliate revenue or, you know, obviously brand partnerships and sponsorships and stuff like that, which I'm not interested in at all. So it's sort of like a multi-layered thing, how people make money on YouTube, and ad revenue, which is passive revenue from people literally just watching your videos, is actually a very small part of it. And the, I guess, commission or the rate, I forget the actual like acronym for it, but the amount you get paid per view is incredibly low. And so it takes a very high volume of people watching your videos in order to make money. And the people that are doing it are just like, holy shit, they're raking it in. Like, I can't even imagine well, I've done some research and stuff like that, but some of the bigger YouTubers who are actually getting like hundreds and thousands or millions of views on their long form content are making so much money, like just like a mind-blowing amount of money that I can't even fathom. So it's tough because like, obviously I would love that. And you know, that'd be great. Who the hell wouldn't want that? But at the same time, I'm struggling with how I feel about getting there, I guess. And yeah, so I'm trying to understand what the point or purpose of this YouTube channel is. So this is something that I sort of just wanted to talk about a little bit, because those of you who have been following along on YouTube are probably, well, it's not that you're probably like wondering where I've been or anything like that, but you have been following along and you've been listening to me talk about how I wanted to do a return to vlogging, because I truly love vlogging. It's like probably one of my favorite things to do and create and put out there, the whole process of it. And so I came to terms with understanding that vlogging wasn't the quickest way to grow on YouTube, and I understood that like putting this much time and effort into these videos was not really the most efficient way to like grow or like find new viewers or market myself or whatever. And I realized that I didn't care, because the medium or like the format of sharing was my favorite. Like I love creating those stories with the music and going out and exploring with you guys, and just bringing whoever is willing to watch along with me and showing them like what we're doing and stuff like that. I think I've been pretty clear that vlogging and creating videos is extremely difficult for me. In my situation with Jesse here at the little shack on the farm. We are together 24/7. He is currently on disability due to his brain tumor shenanigans, so he's not working, and he is working on his own sort of like projects and stuff like that here, which is great, but he's here all the time. I'm here all the time. It's essentially the equivalent of two people working from home, even though it's not like conventional work. So we're both here all the time, and I just simply cannot vlog. The only times that I can vlog are when I'm getting up to go out and do something, which is why I took advantage of going to the laundromat to create a vlog, because that was a big 2-hour trip to go and do laundry, and I figured I could make a little story out of that. And I did, and I'm really glad that I did, and that I was able to kind of put that together and share that way, because it was fun and like it felt like a little adventure, and I had a really good time like capturing that, and then I had a really enjoyable time editing that together and sharing that. It was fun. And since then, so that was a week ago, I have not had a single fucking thing to vlog about. I'm not even kidding. My life here at the little shack on the farm, when I am not pet sitting and farm sitting and traveling to like do that kind of work, is so incredibly boring, but not in a way that I'm unhappy with. I'm really happy and at peace with how simple and how quiet my life is, but it's truly, I'm not even kidding you guys, it is not possible to vlog about it. I don't do anything. I'm always kind of working away on little things on my laptop. I have a couple different sort of like projects or ideas that I'm building out, but that is literally me waking up, doing sort of like my little morning routine with Fern and Ivy. I usually, I bring all their beds out and I get them all cozy on the futon. I make a cup of coffee. I go to the bathroom. I get the dogs some fresh water. Sometimes I feed them if we wake up a little bit later in the morning. We go outside for like a little pee. And then I set up on the futon and I reply to emails. I kind of like, catch up on articles or blogs that I'm following along with. I do some reading. I will sometimes text my mom a little bit, check in with her. And then I sit down and I just kind of like plug away at like the different things that I'm working on, but sort of behind the scenes. I'm on my laptop constantly. At around noon, I get up and let the girls out for a little pee break, or we'll go into town and I'll take them for like a little stroll, a little walk along the lake. And then I'll come back, maybe heat up some food, work a little bit. And then I do some cleaning, do the dishes, and I'm literally in bed by 7:30. The routine is consistent every single day. There's no day that's different. I mean, yesterday I went to Cal Tire to like get a leak in my tire patched up, but I'm not going to vlog about this. Like, it's my life. I don't think right now is conducive to vlogging. I don't have any moments in the shack where I'm alone, where I can just like turn on my camera and engage with the camera and talk with the camera. So I don't think that vlogging is possible. It breaks my heart a little bit because I do love it. And right now I'm actually I'm not in the process, but I created a reel. It took me 6 hours to make and it barely reached anybody. That was just my first attempt at trying to market or promote this, but I'm trying to promote my availability for farm sitting. So ideally what I would like to do, it's the end of March now. So for April, May, June, July, August, September, October, November, even like until the snow flies at the end of the year, I would love to book up with rural farm sitting jobs like I was doing last year, mostly for my friend Jade at Dexter Ranch or Lasting Strides, and then my friend Carly, who has Cedarview Acres, like those two rural properties that I vlogged at, with all the barn animals and the chickens and stuff like that. Those are the types of jobs that I would like to book up with, preferably longer term, like 2, 3, 4 weeks at a time, because then I would be, alone with the dogs. There would be interesting things happening. There would be animal care and property care and like things to do. I guess that's the other thing, is that living here at the little shack on the farm, part of the arrangement was that everything was taken care of for us. They offered this shack, our landlords offered this little Airbnb like shack to us for Jesse to get through his brain tumor surgery and for his recovery. So the whole point of it was to make it as easy as possible for us to live here. So our landlords actually used to rent out this shack to elderly and like senior folks who were in between independent living and assisted living. So this is kind of like a halfway home in that sense. So it's all built out to be handicap accessible. So it's got like a walk-in door. There's no stairs. The shower is meant to have a wheelchair in it. Like it's a handicap accessible shower with like a bar that you can hold on to get in and out and whatever. And it's sort of like meant for senior citizens. And so in that sense, it was also really great for Jesse recovering from surgery and for anyone recovering from surgery. But they also they included everything, like all of the maintenance for the land and the farm is done. They take care of our recycling. They take care of our garbage. All of our utilities are included. Like every single thing is taken care of here, which is in such stark contrast to when we were living at the cabin, when we were just overloaded with solving problems and building things and fixing things and learning and stocking up firewood and actually like bucking up trees from the friggin' forest, like with our chainsaw. And like I was weed whacking and doing lawn maintenance and like splitting wood with like an actual like hydraulic wood splitter and fixing the washing machine and like doing plumbing and like I was doing a whole ton of like bird watching and like I got really into that for a while. There was shoveling, if you guys followed along with that. There was never a fucking shortage of things that were interesting enough to vlog about. Like I was so active. I was always doing something. There was always something to figure out. There was always something interesting happening. There were turkeys in the yard. There were bears and baby bears roaming through. Like it was wild. It was wild and I lived for it. It was so fun. And here, there's nothing fucking happens. There's nothing to do. It's so frigging simple. And on one hand, that makes it extremely frustrating because I feel like there's nothing to vlog about, nothing to share, like literally nothing. On the other hand, it has freed up an incredible amount of time for me to focus on something maybe a little bit more appropriate for this specific time. So what I'm kind of getting at here is that I don't think that I'm able to create for YouTube very consistently at the moment. And I know that I don't owe anybody any apologies, and that it's probably like irrelevant to you guys. Like you guys probably don't actually care. So it's not a big deal, but I'm just talking out loud here and trying to work through some stuff. And I'm thinking that I sort of have to let this YouTube dream go. And that's been happening in stages over the past year as I sort of was humbled to realize that growth maybe wasn't as easy as I thought, or wasn't going to come to me as easily as I thought it would, based on the parameters of what it takes to have a successful YouTube channel and, you know, keep people's attention and whatever. So I've kind of been like dropping these expectations along the way. And then finally, I feel like those last 2 vlogs that I filmed at the laundromat were my last attempt at like trying to make this work. And you guys know that I went through like a little blip or a little phase of creating these sit down videos that were scripted. We put that fake like log cabin backdrop behind the futon, and I was sitting down there to make these videos on pet loss grief, because I was thinking, oh my god, okay, I have to niche down and create these videos on this one specific topic, and then maybe that's how my YouTube channel will grow, and that's how I can start making money from it, and that'll be great. And that was a whole thing that just made me so freaking uncomfortable, and it definitely wasn't for me, and I pulled out of that immediately. I was like, nope, this isn't what I'm here to do. This isn't what I want to do whatsoever at all. It was so cringy. I hated it. I hated it. I hated it. I hated it. And so I went back to vlogging, trying to, you know, come hell or high water and just vlog about my life. So I did the laundry vlogs, and then I actually did a meal prep vlog. I filmed for it in the kitchen. The kitchen is so dark. It was so hard to actually film like what I wanted to film and how I wanted it to look. I couldn't talk or engage with the camera. So my idea was to film all of these different clips of me like cooking and preparing food, splice it together, and then like come out to the car to record a narration, like write a narration for it, come out to the car for privacy, record a narration, put that to the video, and make like a narrated kind of video about doing meal prep. And every part of me did not want to do that. Like after I ended up filming everything, I was like, I'm not doing that. So I think that was my last push for trying to make YouTube vlogs. And so recently I've been starting to think about the fact, like all of the stuff that I just mentioned, like feeling fractured and like pulled in different directions, sharing like bits and pieces of my story with different mediums on different platforms, writing and speaking and you know, YouTube stories and or not YouTube stories, Instagram stories, and my Instagram feed and YouTube shorts and the community tab and like email newsletters and my blog and like everywhere. Like it's all just like so friggin' scattered. So that, combined with the fact that we're here and I literally can't vlog, like it's just not possible for me to vlog here. I'm realizing that was kind of a hard realization, and then realizing that those sit down topic based videos are not for me either. I think I've finally like reached a point where I'm realizing that the most appropriate medium for me, right now, both like based on my situation, based on everything I've tried, and also in a weird way, like based on my age, which is another conversation I'm not sure I'm going to get into here, but it was my birthday this week. So that's something that happened, but I didn't feel like vlogging about that. We really didn't do anything special. We went out for pizza, but anyways, I just turned 39. And so I'm a week into my 40th year, basically. And so I've been thinking a lot about that. You know, I will be 40 years old in a year from now. So it's kind of the, I don't know. It's just been on my mind a lot. And I've just been thinking about where I am at this point in my life and what I would like to accomplish in this year before I'm like fully into my 40th decade. And I've started to realize that I think that writing is probably the most appropriate thing for me, and that's what I should be focused on doing. And you know, I'm a writer deep down at heart. I've been writing for a long time. I used to write in my Instagram captions. That's where I originally was like kind of sharing my story, was in those 2,200 character limit captions. That's how I was sharing. Obviously the Instagram landscape has changed quite a bit, and it's not really so much about that anymore, or at least it's very hard to get people to actually read your captions because there's so many reels, or people aren't paying attention, or you have to share your writing in a creative way, like in a carousel doing graphic design and stuff like that. I'm just not going to do that. I feel like all I want to do is write. Like I want to write stories. I am so incredibly burnt out from the attention economy and what it has become. I am so sick of algorithm-driven platforms and just trying to win people's attention that way. I'm so sick of breaking myself up into these bite-sized pieces. And I have just been thinking about this stuff a lot, and I'm starting to think at this point that I should be sharing my writing on a platform that is built for writing. And there are a few platforms that are built for writing, but one of the biggest ones right now is Substack. And at the beginning of 2024, before we moved out of the cabin, I made this big dramatic move from Patreon to Substack. So Patreon is actually where I have shared a lot of my writing, but it's been private. It's been totally paywalled. It's for patrons only. I've been sharing some of my best stories and my best experiences with writing and photos privately on Patreon for my patrons as a benefit to their membership. So a lot of my work is over there and it's paywalled, but that means that nobody can discover it, nobody can read it. Like, my patrons have thoroughly enjoyed it and whatnot, but it's not out there in the world. And that causes part of my confusion too, because I do share the deepest parts of myself on Patreon, and it psychologically that makes it feel like I'm sharing it with the world, but I'm not. I'm sharing it with 111 people. So anyway, back in 2024, I decided that I wanted to take my Patreon audience, which I think we had 250 patrons at the time. Like, that was like the bulk of my income. I was making about $2,000 a month from Patreon, which was lovely. And I decided to switch platforms to Substack because I felt like I had more control in Substack. I had more control of like my membership payment processing. Like, it's connected to a payment platform called Stripe, and you can go into the back end and you can you build your customer list there. You have access to their credit card information, you have access to canceling or refunding or prorating or whatever their subscriptions. Like, you just have a lot more back end control. You also own your content on Substack and you own your email list on Substack. So there's a lot more ownership when it comes to owning your content and owning your audience. And that was really important to me at the time. I was also really drawn to Substack by its community features, and it was really kind of going through like a growth spurt at the time, and it felt like that's where I really just wanted to bring my community over to continue sharing and hopefully reaching new people who would become paid subscribers to Substack. It's essentially the same thing. Like, paid subscribers on Substack are the same thing as becoming a patron on Patreon, but people don't see it that way. That was one of the biggest mistakes I could have done for my income. I think I lost about 50% of my patrons. I currently have 111 patrons. So thinking about this time last year, I had 250. And now I have 111. I make about $900 a month from Patreon, which I am so friggin' incredibly grateful for. But that's what I had to deal with, was an income loss of about 50% or more when I did that, because lots of people didn't choose to renew their subscriptions when it came to Substack. A ton of people just fell through the cracks and just like disappeared. And I think a lot of people might have taken the switch as an opportunity to actually like cancel. Like, maybe they felt like they had been around for long enough and they were just kind of like ready to let it go. Maybe there were people who didn't quite enjoy or like the Substack platform. It wasn't familiar to them, so they decided not to renew. My content didn't change. Like, the stuff that I was sharing was the same, but it was just an extreme drop off that I wasn't exactly expecting. And then what ended up happening is that I freaked out and I changed my mind and decided to go back to Patreon. There were also people that were saying that they missed Patreon and they kind of wanted to go back. So I decided to go back. And I think a few people dropped off there as well. But that core group of people that have been, those 111 people that I feel like have been with me for the whole time, they just sort of like follow me wherever I go. Like, it doesn't matter to them. They went over to Substack and then they went back to Patreon, and they kind of like poke fun at me for it or whatever. But yeah, like, thank God for them. I am so lucky for that core group of people. They're just like my ride and die people. And yeah, so that's sort of where we are with that. I have 111 patrons on Patreon. I'm making $900 a month. That's literally my only income, because I just lost my CPP disability benefits after getting them for 9 years. I lost those in November, which I talked about in the Canada Postal Union Workers strike video, actually, in detail. I told that story, but I haven't shared about it since. I've been wanting to. I'm not going to fit it into this video because I've already been talking for 42 minutes. But yeah, so I'm making $900 a month. That's how much I'm making. And I don't know what I'm going to do. I literally don't know what I'm going to fucking do. YouTube doesn't seem to be the answer. I try and promote Patreon to the best of my ability, but I cannot grow my Patreon to save my life. I think I've really sort of lost my way with that since Jonas died. My biggest growth or surge of growth on Patreon was when Jonas was dying, actually, because people wanted to follow along with that story, and I was sharing really deep, intimate, personal stuff about his end of life on Patreon. So a lot of people came over to support me and like us through that time, and they sort of got to have a front row seat to that process and saying goodbye to him, which was incredibly supportive and wonderful. But since Jonas has been gone, things have kind of just like crumbled. Like Grumble Farm has kind of stalled. Like it's just totally stalled without him. Like he was always kind of the star of it, and it was Jonas. It was Jonas. It was Jonas. He's what resulted in my Instagram growth. He was just the center of my entire fucking world. And after he was gone, I really struggled with how to move forward. And it's just been this struggle ever since. That's been for 2 years. I am thinking of recommitting to Substack, and I'm thinking of recommitting to Substack in a couple of different ways. I'm thinking of focusing on writing different, just like articles and stories and like the things that I have on my mind that I want to share. I am thinking of possibly posting videos there that aren't for YouTube, but that are literally just on Substack. I'm not entirely sure. I might just do writing there. Some of you might be rolling your eyes at me for thinking of going back to Substack, but I'm not going to create a paid model. I don't think it's like a newsletter blog situation. If you're not familiar with Substack, it's a blog, but it gets sent out as a newsletter to your subscribers. And I don't think I'm going to implement the paid subscription model, or if I do, it's not going to be a replacement for Patreon, because I am not going through the heartache and the heartbreak of bringing over my patrons over to Substack again. Like I'm not doing that to them. I'm not doing that to myself. It was so time consuming and just so heartbreaking what happened there, and like just devastating to me financially. But I really have no idea. I at this point, I don't plan on paywalling any of my content. So if I do turn on paid subscriptions, it's literally just going to be a way for people that are enjoying my writing and enjoying my storytelling to support me on like a different platform in a different way. I don't think there's going to be any benefits. I don't think there's going to be any like nothing. It's literally just a way to an avenue of reciprocity, I guess, energetic reciprocity. So that's sort of what I've been tinkering away with on there. I am trying to figure out what I'm going to call it. I've been considering renaming it. Originally, it was called The Morning Grumble by Grumble Farm. I was thinking of calling it The Real Grumble Farm. I'm sort of repositioning my story a little bit to sort of like take the focus off of the pugs and to put it back on my pursuit of living rurally and farming, my interest in farming and growing and raising my own food and stuff like that. I, for so long, have hidden so much of my experiences and not so much like my story, but like my true thoughts and the person that I've become as a result of the things I've been through. I've held back on a lot of that stuff, and it's been making me feel really disconnected and really isolated from the people in my online life. And so another part of me maybe putting this writing on Substack is to hopefully speak my truth in order to connect with like my true people who resonate with my journey and the person I've become because of it. It's controversial. I would say, because it's not mainstream. My whole entire life, I've taken the alternative route, and that has implications in terms of how I treat my body and what I put inside of it and what I let other people put inside of it, politically, definitely. And it's very hard these days to speak about those things without getting attacked and without getting canceled by people that you thought cared about you and people that you have invested so much time and energy into building a relationship with or building a rapport with. So I'm struggling with that a little bit, and I'm expecting a bit of disagreement or backlash. But I know that if I stay on my current path of walking on eggshells and not speaking my truth and my voice and sharing my lived experience truthfully, then it's going to slowly kill my soul. And it has been. And I have been hungry for authentic conversations from people who are kind of on my level, at the same level of awakening, at the same level of their perception of how they just move in and interact with the world and the world around them. I'm really lacking connection to my true tribe. My battery is going to die. Hang on a sec here. So I kind of knew this was going to happen. I knew I was going to come in here and without a script or like being able to go through like a bit of an outline of the things that I wanted to talk about, and I was just going to allow myself to meander and talk, that this video was going to sound pretty rambly. The things that I've talked about in it so far, I also knew it was going to be very long. So before my battery died, I checked and it said I had been talking for 50 minutes. So like, I don't exactly know how I feel about uploading that to YouTube, or how many people are even going to watch it, or if what I'm explaining or talking about is like, but this is what I mean. Like, here I am thinking like, is this worth listening to? Is this worth people's time and attention? Like, is this too long? Like, it's going to be an hour-long video of me rambling on. in my car, I was thinking recently about getting a job. I was like, what could that actually look like? My journey experience, my story that I have about quitting my very last job as an employee before moving out to the Kootenays, I haven't had a job since. I've just been making money in all these kind of random, weird, various ways. I never thought that I would be able to go back to having a job and being an employee, first of all, because I do have a disability, and I won't talk about that in this video. I have talked about it in previous videos and across my other content on the internet many, many, many times. That's one of the things I feel like I repeat myself about so often to the point of being annoying. But I do have some limitations there. And I just thought that I wasn't built to be an employee. Like I wasn't built to work for somebody else. But I think the entire time I was just doing the wrong type of work. I really, really do. It was just a poor fit. I didn't have any, at that time, 5 years ago, I had very little sense of self-worth and like what I was capable of. I also had really weak like skills when it came to setting boundaries. And I also had like a ton of unchanneled creative energy in me at the time. All of that creative energy went into creating Grumble Farm when we moved out to the Kootenays in 2020 at the beginning of the pandemic. And, that was very cathartic and very empowering for me. But 5 years later, after trying to make a go at this, having an online business, and I'm going to do it again, creating content, like making videos and trying to get an audience to pay to be a patron to support it, and selling little products in an online store and whatever, like all the little things that I've tried to do to make this work financially over the past 5 years. Part of me just like wants to give it up. Like I feel a sense of relief thinking about getting a job where I get paid minimum wage. I don't even care. Like where I actually get paid a guaranteed, I don't even know what minimum wage is these days. I don't even know how to write a resume. Like I've been so out of the loop for so long. I have no idea how any of this stuff works. But I think about how much of a relief it would be to actually go somewhere and get paid like an hourly amount, I've never had a job where I got paid a salary. But like what a relief that would be to actually know that you're getting money. The only sense of that I've gotten is from Patreon over the years. And I've been so incredibly lucky and grateful for it. But everything else has been like, I don't know. I have no idea. Like I have no guaranteed income. My CPP disability gave me that for a while. And I've been without that for the past 4 months. So adjusting to that has been crazy. Like living on $900 a month from Patreon. That $900 a month is pretty consistent and pretty reliable. So I know I'm at least getting that. But $900 a month. That's what I've been making. No more. No more than that. I got a couple of birthday gifts from followers. Like an amazing follower, Karen, sent me $200. Like that's so generous. And another follower sent me, I think, 150, Samantha, Canadian. And I got some Amazon gift cards and stuff like that. But that's not like, I wasn't expecting that. And that's not like a revenue source or revenue stream. And so I've been being very frugal and like being very conscious about how I'm spending my money. And I have like a tiny little bit of available credit left on my credit card. And I have basically just been like slowly using that to survive over the past 4 months without CPP disability. And it's been the dead of winter. I lost it in the dead of winter. So yeah, I was kind of talking before about how I started promoting my availability for farm sitting because that would really help if I was able to find the right gigs and get paid to be at other people's places. Then I could potentially vlog again and like, I don't know. So that's sort of where I've been at. I've just been scrambling around trying to figure out what the hell to do. And so with this job thing, I was thinking about how actually a relief it would be to have a job that I get paid for to be there. And working at this farm has completely opened my eyes to the work that I enjoy doing. So, this surprises me because the work that I do over at the farm is in an outdoor milking parlor, and I'm outside wearing steel-toed work boots, like walking through mud and like cow manure this thick. But I'm taking care of animals and I'm working with animals and I'm working in like a farm environment, and it's extremely fulfilling for me. And there's some other things involved that I'm at that farm that I'm involved in that it's too complicated to get into here, but I really feel like I'm making a difference, and I'm very passionate about the work that I'm doing there. And I think that's what I was missing when I was an employee before. It just wasn't aligned. It was a misalignment. And now that I've experienced what this feels like, it's just an internship or like a volunteer. It's almost like a volunteer position. So I'm not getting paid for it. But every time that I'm there, like I'm just so fucking happy to be there. And the work feels so good. And I feel so incredibly accomplished when I'm finished. And I actually look forward to the day. It's 1 day a week. So that's the other thing, is that it's only very, very, very part-time. But every day, like I think about being there, and I wish that I was there more often. Like I wish I could be there 3 days a week, 4 days a week, 5 days a week doing that work. And I think that speaks to something. So I think if I were to look for a job, it would be in a farming environment, like in an agricultural environment. And that's kind of where I could like look for paid work. The other thing that kind of stresses me out and freaks me out about the idea of actually getting a job is the girls. They have become so incredibly dependent on me. They have severe separation anxiety, like next level separation anxiety. They have been with me 24/7 since the pandemic for the last 5 years. And they have an incredibly hard time with me not being here, even for a couple of hours. And it is like not something I can necessarily train out of them at this time. And they're also 14 and a half years old. And they are my absolute priority. And I can definitely see it becoming an issue if I were to get a job and commit myself to actually having to be somewhere from like, you know, X time to X time, unless the job had some kind of flexibility. I would be so terrified of something bad. Like that moment when it starts to become the beginning of the end, like when they start to either show symptoms of getting sick, or if it's something more sudden and extreme, like a seizure or something bad, you know, worst case scenario, they just kind of like up and die. That happens sometimes too. If that happened while I was away working, I don't know how I would ever get over that. And also the stress of like them getting sick and having to figure out what I'm going to do in terms of vet care out here in the Kootenays, where I'm going to go, the travel involved, if any specialists are required, having to make a trip back to Calgary like I did with Jonas. Like their care is my priority, and thinking about them dying is on my mind all the time. I know that sounds kind of fucked up, but like it's always at like front of mind for me, like the awareness, knowing that they're this old and that time is going to come and I'm going to have to navigate that. And when that time comes, I need to be there 100%. Like I can't be committed to like a workplace or a job and have them come second priority. That's just not going to work for me. I assume this is how parents feel with like real human children. You know, they're your priority, and in the workplace you're usually given like that's more acceptable to leave if your kid is sick, or to take a day off because your kid is sick or needs to see a doctor or whatever. But that's how I feel about the dogs. And so I feel like if it were to come to that based on their age, I just wish they were younger. So I had a bit more time, because it could be their time at any time. They're extremely healthy and happy right now, but it could be their time at any time. And making myself available for that is important. And that's why farm sitting is such a good option for me, because I bring them with me and they're with me all the time. So if anything happens, like, you know, I'm there for them. I'm there with them. And also farm sitting brings me to other areas where there's like better access to vet care, especially if I'm out in Alberta. And so that seemed like a happy sort of medium for me, but I'm having a difficult time marketing it and finding like the right jobs for that. There's some stuff I have to do behind the scenes in order to promote it and market that. And that's what I've been working on my laptop when I'm doing, like, you know, nothing. And don't have anything to vlog about. I've been working on that. I'm very much trying to figure out how the fuck I'm going to make money, because I can't go much longer making $900 a month from Patreon. I can't. And I try to promote it, and I try to grow it, because in my brain I'm thinking, how amazing would that be if I could get back to what I was making before I made that switch to Substack, and I could actually be making $2,000 a month again. That would be so incredible. My overhead, or like my cost of living, is so incredibly low living here at the shack. I don't even have my own car. I'm just driving Jesse's right now. But $2,000 a month from Patreon would like cover my bases and also help me pay down my debt at the same time. Like, it does not take much. And I have no fucking idea how to bring it back to that. Anyways, I guess I have to wrap it up here, because now I've been talking for 11 minutes. This is definitely an hour-long video, and maybe it just is what it is, and I'm going to post it anyways. I don't even really expect a lot of people to listen to it, but I don't know how to make it any shorter. I just don't. If I try and script this out and recite it or go like too tightly to notes, it's not going to come out as authentically as I intended it to. So it is what it is. I'm pretty sure this is all I wanted to say. There are definitely other things I'm holding back, because then I will be sitting here talking for several hours and this video will never make it up. So I guess what to expect in the future here. I might pop onto YouTube with a vlog if I find something to do. If there's actually like an event happening, at least I know how to vlog. Like, I know how to film it and document it and capture it. But most importantly, I know how to edit it into something interesting to watch. I feel I feel that my vlogs are interesting to watch and that they're well done and enjoyable. So I know how to do that. If there's something happening that I feel like I have the capacity to put the effort into filming and documenting and putting together, then YouTube is obviously where I'm going to upload that video. It's where I'm going to upload that project, and whoever is here and sees it and, you know, watches it and enjoys it, great. It's going to be there for memory's sake, for me. You know, that experience or whatever happens will be there, which is awesome. But I don't think I'm going to be putting too much into like a YouTube strategy. I'm not going to be trying too hard here. It's kind of that I'm giving up, but not in like an upsetting way. I'll still be here posting every once in a while. And, you know, you might see a video pop up from me from time to time if I have something to share, like a vlog to share. If I have something that I want to say using my voice, like today, I'm probably going to sit down in front of my camera and talk about it and upload it to YouTube. Maybe those will be shorter, like talking videos. Maybe they'll be longer like this one. I don't know. So the videos are still going to be coming up here simply because YouTube is a platform to upload videos like that. But I think I'm letting go of this sort of like pipe dream of having a big YouTube channel that makes me money, because I'm not willing to create in that way. I'm just not. And it is what it is. So that's what's happening on YouTube. And then I think I'm going to start sharing my writing on Substack again. So I originally brought over my email list of 1,500 people to Substack. So if you're watching this, you might have actually gotten my old Substack emails when I was writing them as the Morning Grumble, but I deleted that email list. It's full of people that joined my email list at various times through Grumble Farm that might not be at all interested or even agree with the topics that I'm going to be writing about, which is right now I'm feeling particularly passionate about food politics and stuff like that. So I'm also very anti-establishment and like anti-government. So just to be completely clear, it's not going to be for everyone. And I'm really seeking just like my true tribe and my true people who are passionate about freedom and like bodily autonomy and health freedom and food freedom, like these types of things. Homesteady people, farm people, like freedom fighter people, truth seeker people, awakened people. These are the people I'm seeking. And maybe that's you, maybe that's not you. But the reason I deleted my email list is because I know for a fact that so many of those people aren't my people. They're my people when it comes to pugs and, you know, safe topics, talking about safe stuff. But a lot of the stuff that I plan to share from my truth, like from my heart, based on my experience and the person I've become because of everything I've been through and the reasons why I believe the things I believe and the way I see the world. I don't think that email list that I built up is interested in that, and I'm not willing to risk it. I also don't want it to influence the way that I write, because when I'm writing for a group of people that I have in mind, I'm always walking on eggshells and like trying to avoid confrontation and like to the best of my ability, not wanting to have people like get mad at me. So if I removed that, I just deleted every single email, the whole entire email list. I'm down to 0 subscribers on there. Actually, I think there's 1 subscriber that kind of trickled over recently, but like I'm pretty sure that they're not going to like what I'm sharing either. So I don't know. If you do want to subscribe to it, based on what I've said in this video, I guess I'll leave a link for it above. I forget which. I think it's this side. I'll leave a link for it up here and in like the little description box below if you wanted to subscribe to that. But I think I'm going to build up that readership from the ground because I want people to consciously subscribe to it, knowing what they're getting into and like the type of person that I am, because I don't want to, I don't know, I don't want to hide what I have to say anymore. For fear of like upsetting other people. And I really want to, I'm desperate to build a community of people that are equally as passionate about these topics that I want to talk about and are awake. Like I just want to talk to people who have been through their awakenings and see the bullshit for what it is and can actually engage in intellectually stimulating conversations that they feel passionately about when it comes to these things. I need this. I need this. I think that's it. I'm going to be working on my book. I'm working on putting together a book proposal for my memoir. I posted an announcement about that at the beginning of the year saying that I was writing my book. So I'm working on a book proposal, which is basically like a marketing plan. Ideally, I'd like to go in a hybrid direction, but that costs a lot of money. So I don't know how that would look. I might, once my book proposal's done, I might shop around and query agents to go the traditional publishing route. I would prefer to be published than go through the hassle of self-publishing. I'm just not interested in that really at all. So we'll see. I'll give you guys sort of like, I'll try to talk about that in my writing or in my videos in the future or whatever. But so I'm working on that, which is also focused in like the writing arena, which makes sense because if I'm writing a book or plan on writing a book, then it makes sense that the content and the things that I'm sharing are in like a writing format as well. So I think that's what I'm going to be doing over on Substack to kind of like grow a readership, which makes the most sense to me. I'm going to be promoting my farm sitting still. I'm thinking of actually getting out in the real world and having posters printed off and actually like handing out cards and putting up like physical posters in appropriate areas to try and like promote that service. I'm working on building a little page on my website for it. And I'm going to be trying to do some networking and some promoting in like some Facebook groups and stuff like that as well, just to try and maybe secure some gigs or secure some jobs to get some money flowing in this spring and summer. Hopefully that would be really helpful. And then I have, you know, my patrons on Patreon. And I'm posting behind the scenes writing and updates and photos and stuff like that all the time to them. So I'm going to hang on to them for as long as I can, as long as they're willing to stay. So there's that sort of, you know, platform as well. And then Instagram, I've been thinking about quitting again, which comes as no surprise, but I am just so genuinely sick of that platform. And to be honest, I am so genuinely sick of the people that are only on that platform. Not of the people that use it and like, I get to hang out with elsewhere on the internet, but the followers that are following Grumble Farm who literally refuse to go anywhere else. Like they're just so stuck on Instagram. Instagram is like their platform. It's the only place that they have their attention. I can't deal with that anymore. I can't. I refuse. So yeah, that's it. I am going to end this video here because this was incredibly long. I'm already feeling second doubts about even sharing it because I know it was really long and rambly, and I don't even know if there's any point in sharing it whatsoever, but I guess this is what came out, sitting here allowing myself to talk the way that I normally talk, and so maybe this was what I was meant to share. So yeah, I don't know. I'll see you when I see you, where I see you, hopefully here still in the future, and then hopefully maybe over on Substack as well if you are not offended by what has come to be referred as conspiracy theories. I am a conspiracy theorist, apparently, according to the mainstream view of looking at things. So I'm looking forward to connecting with you there if you are interested in counterculture conversations. Okay, that's it. I will see you guys later. Bye.